Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.
You are once again welcome to PENDREAM TV, the only channel that brings you the best and latest updates in politics. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell for more updates. Like and also share to other members to watch as well. You can equally leave a comment after watching or send us a voice note on our WhatsApp number, which is 0277 128 777. Thank you. This station still remains PENDREAM TV, the only authentic channel on YouTube that bring you the best in politics. Please stay tuned for what you have for you today. And it's all about expectation from Kwesi Pratt, what he's expecting from GM administration. And he also advised them not to behave like the old era or the old president, which is Nana Addo and his arrogant groups. Without much ado, I would like you to join me listening to what he said into detail. Thank you.
Comrade Pratt.
Well, strange things happen. And many strange things are happening now. I'm completely surprised that a government headed by a president who is commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, with a vice president who is chairman of the police council, is calling on the opposition to restore calm on our streets. How is that possible? Strictly speaking, all Ghanaians have an obligation to contribute to the security of the state and so on. But the primary responsibility lies with government. And it's so strange that government is calling on the opposition, which has no power, to do what the government should have done. That's absolutely strange, you understand? But beyond that, I mean, yesterday I had reports of what was happening in Winneba and other places. And it turned out that the looting which was taking place was not being done by NDC cadres and members. It was being done by MPP members. In fact, the NDC in Winneba and areas around there had actually organized a task force to arrest those who were stealing iron rods from the Agenda 111 project and those who were stealing fertilizers and so on. And it turned out that they were MPP. The third point, which is important, and I think it's very, very important, that whilst we condemn the mayhem on the streets, the hooliganism and so on, we have to appreciate the fact that this is not the first time. Indeed, after the 2016 elections, those who drove four-wheel drives could not ply the streets any longer because they were all deemed to be officials of the outgoing government who had stolen vehicles. It was mayhem on our streets. A bunch of people invaded the NAGMO office, sacked everybody from there and closed it up. And so we saw that in 2016. You understand? Now, that does not justify what is happening now. But the impression should not be created that one party is so lawless and one party, you know, is a law-abiding party and so on. That's not the issue, you understand? So all those who are engaged in these activities, you know, are barefaced criminals. And criminality has no party colors and so on. So the security agencies, under the direction of the current government, which is headed by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, should take full responsibility and clean the streets of hooliganism. That's all.
Thank you very much. Your message has been very well received. To try our best possible to look into that. But on this note, let me also give Comrade Pratt the opportunity to share his thoughts on this issue.
Well, the expectations, you know, that the people have of the administration are many, and some may even be conflicting. I think the first expectation that people have is that the economic conditions in the country would improve. Because the economic conditions in the country now are really terrible. I mean, this country is virtually bankrupt. And President John Dramani Mahama is taking over. You know, an economy which is in the doldrums. And we will discuss the details of that when we come to discuss the issue of our renegotiations with the IMF. So people expect something dramatic. they expect that the cost of food items and food, would go down considerably, or at least would be halted. I mean, over the last couple of years, the price of a ball of kenkey has moved from 50 pesos to 5 cedis. And people expect that at least it should remain at 5 cedis for some time to come. There is the issue also of, fuel costs. And fuel costs has risen so dramatically within the last 8 years. The expectation of many people is that the costs at least will remain stable, for some time and so on. Then there's the vexed question of the energy situation, the power situation. I mean, Dumso is back with us. I mean, nobody can deny that. The previous administration made strenuous efforts to deny that. But you and I know when the power goes off. I mean, here in Abelimpe, it goes off most of the time. We've had to spend a lot of money buying fuel for the plant so that this station can continue to work. So that's a huge issue. And we are told that the outgoing government is leaving a debt of more than $2 billion. How the Mahama administration is going to find $2 billion to stop Dumso is a huge problem that they have to confront, Then there are many other issues. I mean, for example, it's expected that the new administration would give the opportunity to women, to serve in sensitive government appointments and so on. The start has not been very good. I saw President Mahama's transition team, and I was surprised that there was only one woman on the transition team. I was really surprised, given all the noise we've made about the representation of women and so on. I was expecting right from the beginning to see quite, a sizable number of women participating in the decision-making process in government. But it's early days yet, and we are hoping to see. Again, I think that people expect that the size of government will be radically reduced. President John Dramani Mahama has made a commitment to reduce the number of ministers to 60. It's a difficult thing, but he has to do it. It's a promise, it's an electoral promise, and it cannot be broken. I've already heard people saying that, if he's able to even do 65, we'll be happy and so on. Nobody will be happy with 65. The promise was for 60, and 60 should be delivered. You understand? There are a number of people who themselves are looking for appointments for themselves, and they have started making those noises in the hope that if the number is increased, their chances of getting ministerial appointments and so on will be improved. But look, this is not about individual chances of becoming ministers and so on. This is about how healthy the national economy is and how we need to cut down the size of government as a means of making resources available for other things. And 60 is 60. I mean, 60 cannot be 61, it cannot be 62. So the expectation is that John Mahama will keep his promise and appoint only not more than 60, ministers. I mean, that's a promise which ought to be kept. Again, the gender activists have raised a number of issues. The extension of maternity leave for women. And I think that is still on the cards. People are looking to the new government, to be able to ensure that maternity leave for women is extended. Then there's the issue of sanitary pads, and the promise which the Mahama administration has made so far is that in the next 90 days, it will make sure that free sanitary pads are distributed to girls in the senior and junior, secondary schools and so on. Everybody's expecting that promise will be kept. Then the big one, there's a huge expectation that those who have misconducted themselves in this administration will be dealt with. They'll be investigated and dealt with according to law. I mean, that's a huge expectation. And if the current administration fails to do that, I think it's going to be in some kind of trouble. I have said from the very beginning that the priority ought not be chasing people who have abused office and so on. The priority ought to be how to make sure that people have a sense of relief when it comes to their daily living conditions and so on. That ought to be the priority. But look, I'm in the minority. I mean a very
make that statement.
Yes, I mean a very small minority. The vast majority of our people want to see, retribution. It's unfortunate that we have gotten to this stage, but that is the state in which we are. And the Mahama administration will be expected, especially by its own supporters, to do something, about those who have misconducted themselves. As for the expectations, there's so many of them. I mean, one of the biggest expectations, and please don't underrate that, a lot of people want to see a certain measure of humility in government. The arrogance of people in government is unbearable. And people are even able to bear their economic conditions better than they can bear the arrogance of people in government. And I'm hoping that President Mahama and his team will be able to prevail on their supporters, especially those who are likely to get governmental appointments, to be very careful not to be displaying arrogance. You understand? The arrogance puts people off. People come into government, they make a little money, their standard of living improves a little, and they flaunt it. You are organizing a birthday party for yourself. Who cares? Why would you take videos of your birthday party and display the extravagance you are displaying? Who cares? You and your wife want to go on a holiday in Dubai. Who cares? You go and you video yourself and you come and show it to us. It annoys people. You understand? It annoys people. And I think that it's very, very important to emphasize this point about a certain measure of modesty in government. Even the way they talk to us. I mean, sometimes people in government talk to us as if all of us are idiots. They talk to us as if they are the only people who know and nobody else knows and so on. That should stop immediately. You understand? So I'm emphasizing that because it's absolutely important. The other thing that I'm going to emphasize has to do with the intrusion of family into government. I mean, this administration has suffered a lot because of the perception that the president brought too many of his family people into government. You understand? I'm hoping that the Mahama administration will take note of that. Family should remain family, and government should remain government. The infusion of the two creates distortions which makes people very, very uncomfortable. You understand? Sons and daughters of the president are only sons and daughters of the president. They have no official role in governance. And they should remain where they are as sons and daughters of the president. Finish. You understand? So these are some of the expectations. There's so many of them, but these are some of the expectations, and I'm hoping that the new administration will be able to live up to expectation. I mean, for people like me, we actually expect a fundamental restructuring of the society. A fundamental restructuring of society which ultimately will make tillers the owners of the land. A fundamental restructuring of society which would make the ownership of the apparatus for distribution, for production and distribution of the needs and services of our people, owned by the workers, the working people, and so on. Ultimately, that's what we want. We expect a new government and a new society which will remain loyal to the ideals of Pan-Africanism and push for the unity of African states, because without that we are not going anywhere. We expect that foreign military bases on our soil will be demobilized immediately. You understand? As we speak, NATO has made a request to 3 countries in West Africa. That is Benin, La Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana, for permission to establish drone bases here. We don't need drone bases in our country. Drone bases do not catch fish. Drone bases do not produce food. Drone bases do not enhance education. Drone bases will not improve people's access to social services, such as housing, health, education, and so on. And it should not be a priority. We should not countenance the establishment of NATO drone bases on our soil. We should avoid the situation where Ghanaian territory will be used against the Sahel states, the three countries which have gone into an alliance, mainly Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. We should not allow that to happen. Our new president should not be seen to be behaving like the old president who went to the White House and asked for assistance to be able to confront Russia in Burkina Faso. That should not happen again. We should revert to our own foreign policy of non-alignment and a vigorous pursuit of African interests under the aegis of the African Union, leading ultimately to the unification of our continent. That ought to be our foreign policy priority.
Very well said, Kwesi Pratt. A few more messages once again. Good morning, bless. The National Democratic Congress, under the leadership of JDM, is committed to creating meaningful employment opportunities for Ghana's youth. This priority is reflected in the NDC's 2024 Youth Manifesto, which emphasizes inclusivity, equal access, and addressing unemployment, underemployment, and skills mismatch. JDM's commitment to empowering Ghana's youth is evident in its promise we will create the jobs that young people have been waiting for. All right. Aigbe from Tamale. Thank you, Aigbe, for your message. Good morning, bless. Mr. Pratt has said it. Arrogance is the problem, and that was the downfall of Nanado and his people. And if you doubt a person such as Nanado, you will never learn. Okay, all right. Thank you. BB from Accra. The ending part of your message wasn't so clear, but I do understand you. Good morning to you and your able panelists. I condemn the looting, the attack, and the vandalization. But an Akan proverb says, literally means the juniors follow the seniors' footsteps. The above bad things I mentioned happened in 2016, but our leaders like Peace Council, Christian Community, Catholic Bishop Conference, the Muslim community, and others didn't condemn, and here we are as a country. Amos Asen Fosu sent this one. Good morning, bless. Afenyo Marking should know better by now. Who is leading the parliament? Can we call you minority or what title again? Because you deserve to be called minority now. Okay, thank you. You didn't tell me your name and where you sent your message from. Good morning, host. We voted for the NDC to rescue us and retrieve all stolen funds, ill-gotten state lands, cars and assets from the looting brigade. Again, they must withhold all benefits and ex gratia of Akufo-Addo and his officials because they've done more harm than good to the nation. We cannot continue to give diplomatic privileges to a gang of armed robbers and a looting brigade under the guise of democracy. Ken Williams sent this one. Thank you, Ken, for your message. Good morning, Pan-African TV. Do you know that even in the education service sector in some district and municipalities, these political issues affected most officers? If you are not a member of their party, they target you. The arrogance was so high. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Kofi Enakachi sent this one. Thank you, Kofi, and good morning to the people of Akachi. My name is Seth. My question is, with the Supreme Court of Ghana filled with MPP people and Akufo-Addo's appointees, how will John Mahama retrieve stolen money using the courts? Okay. Good morning from Accra. It's really funny when people post and say that they expect price of goods to drop drastically. Let's be realistic here. At most, what the NDC can do is bring some kind of stability in terms of prices of goods and services vis-a-vis the exchange rate. That aside, I'm glad that the people hold the NDC in such high regard with so many expectations, unlike the current government. I believe that Akufo-Addo has sunk this country so deep that Mahama, from the onset, was set up to fail so they can have a gotcha moment, but they have failed woefully. Ash from Accra. Thank you, Ash, for your message. Good morning, bless. My warm greetings to Mr. Pratt and Ambassador Sampiali. My prayer from our beloved nation is that may Allah's guidance give John Mahama the experience and courage to reset Ghana. My expectation is that all those who caused loss to the nation, looted, captured, etc., should be brought to book and possibly be jailed. But bless, do you know Ghana just won a Guinness World Record for the most expensive hoe? Google it. Alhaji Kanwini sent this one. Thank you, Alhaji, for your message. And I'll do this final one. I think we have received quite a number of messages from Facebook. Let me do about 2, then we do our last story. Taza Felix says, I remember how Dennis Miracle Abaji insulted Comrade Pratt on one of the radio stations. I mean, how could that have happened? Alhaji Haruna Shaiman says, bless, where is Polado Moche? Ha ha ha, who born dog? Finally, good morning, bro. The National Democratic Congress under the leadership of JDM. I think you sent this one through WhatsApp, and I've already done that. But we still have a little time to discuss our final story. Mahama to renegotiate IMF World Bank deals. And according to him, this adjustment is essential and will assist in positioning the new government set to be inaugurated next year alongside our development partners to initiate the rebuilding of the economy and the nation. Ambassador.
The way forward does not really lie in renegotiations with the IMF. We have negotiated and renegotiated with the IMF since independence. And every time we do that, the situation gets worse, for us. And I think that it's about time that we became more imaginative, in our approach, the resolution of the problems that confront us. And if you go into our history, there are important examples that we can learn from. And one of the important examples we can learn from is what the Achampon regime did. The Achampon regime seized power in 1972, January 1972, at a time when the economy was in the doldrums. And Achampon's policy was simply to ignore the IMF and the World Bank and came up with the policy of Yintia, and embarked upon a massive agricultural program known as the Operation Feed Yourself and Feed Your Industries program. And within 2 to 3 years, Ghana became self-sufficient in food production and actually began exporting grains, to other African countries and so on. That's an example worthy of emulation, Now, as a result of Achampon's stand, and there's a new book which was authored by Bafo Ajimai Dia, I think, in the Achampon era. And it says very clearly, gives the statistics very clearly, that even though Achampon eventually went back and renegotiated our loans and so on, because of his tough stand on the credit, Ghana got the best conditions ever. The best conditions ever to any other country. Because the World Bank and the IMF did not want Ghana to become an example of a country which had refused, to pay its loans and so on. So all of this history is available to us. President John Dramani Mahama has stated that I'm not so sure what the outcome would be, and I'm not. And also we have to understand very clearly that you can't get any favorable terms from the IMF without the support of the United States of America. And the United States is not a Father Christmas. It doesn't give things out for free. You cannot be aiming at dismantling U.S. military base in Ghana and be going to them to assist you, in a renegotiation with the IMF. You understand? If you're going to go to the U.S. to ask for assistance in renegotiation with the IMF and so on, it presupposes that we are going to retain the U.S. military base in Ghana. It presupposes that we may even go to the extent of granting NATO the right to use our soil, for the establishment of NATO drone bases and so on. So I think that we've got to be original in our thinking. We've got to be thinking about collective self-reliance. We've got to be thinking about the mobilization of our manpower and internal resources for our development. That's the way to go.
Thank you very much. It's been an excellent experience here on the morning show. Our time is up. I want to thank you so much, Ambassador Sampiali, for your time Also, Comrade Kwesi Pratt Jr., always a pleasure to be in your company. And to our cherished viewers, those of you who watched from the comfort of your homes, those of you who watched across the 46 other African countries via satellite, those of you who watched us on the World Wide Web, facebook.com/Pan-African Television, also on youtube.com/Pan-African Television. We are extremely grateful for your time. The morning show comes your way again tomorrow, the newspaper review segment at 8 a.m. Make sure you do well to join us.
Once again, I say thank you for staying tuned, and thank you for your patience on the channel as well. Please do stay tuned because we have more in store coming your way. Subscribe if you are a new member. Turn the notification bell on so that you'll be notified duly of any notification or any information that will be loaded onto the channel. Thank you. Stay blessed.
PENDREAM TV now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.